Good evening! Back again, another live stream. And today I wanted to talk about the little FM synthesizer which is in SubBoomBass-2. We have this month SubBoomBass-2 month. The whole month of July, the hot summer months, we have hot basses with SubBoomBass-2. And so the whole month, it's the focus. And of course, we had last week also some other things. We mentioned the Predator sound bank. We will have that very soon for you. Let me see if I can open Predator 3. I checked all the presets on volume and tagging, and they will appear. Okay, let me close SubBoomBass-2. They will appear once you have run the update in the Mike Clark 01 bank, which has originally 40 presets. Now it's 82. And if you go to the bank manager and you click order by date, you get the last one, which are then added to it. So that will be the first row up till, let me see, up till 42, yeah, which is the ARP Basic Fun preset. So what I did is checking on the volume, tuning. Some of the sequences were a little bit transposed from the bass. That's when you have the ARP and you play around, and suddenly you have then have a nice melody, but you're in the wrong key. So I had to adjust that. And I have also finalized the sequencer, which was from this rock band from the 70s. Let me see the Woo. And I added the ratcheting, which was also in the original one. So here you see sequence A, B. A has no ratcheting. Ratcheting is on, and sequence B, if I click here, this little red thing, the B is selected. It doesn't play, now it plays. And has twice, step 11, 12, it has the ratcheting. So, yeah, I think the guitar play was very creative. The name doesn't pop up in my mind now. But he also used synthesizer. He also had one track had this a bit of a gator fix on it. I'm not sure what he used at that time. So these are the newer sounds. I also renamed some of them Evangelist Vibe. very evangelist type of sound. Coolest sound I found. My favorite is the Cinematographic X. So that's the synth sound. The other ones, which are very cinematic, are more effect sound. So I put that in the category as FX. But really nice drone. Yeah, Mike Clark created the sound bank. I know him also from the music events in the Netherlands. He attended some of the live playings we did. I had that one. It's a nice analog type. So until, if you click order by date until 42, you have the sequences. And then there are, of course, the weird sounds, the dark. Some growling release. They are nice for doing some other ARP sound. Using the XY. So I'm not sure when, but most likely that we will have maybe this version already tomorrow. So then you can log in. It will be version Predator 3 010B. If you own the Explorer 9 bundle, simply scroll down in the download page of Explorer 9 and download the single installer. Close your music program, run it, and then you have these new sounds. It installs also the NKS files. So that's cool for the ones who own Predator 3. Okay, let me see the chat room. We talk about SubBoomBass-2 this month, and a little bit about the FM type of sounds. So SubBoomBass-2 has 2 oscillators, but what we did also already with Predator, Predator 2, Predator 3, and of course Blue 3 is fully FM synthesis, is that we have the option in SubBoomBass-2 to modulate oscillator 1 into oscillator 2. And because sometimes you change then the pitch to get an interesting sound, and if this sound would go into the filter, that would be not that nice, because then you got some detuned oscillator. So what we did is in oscillator 1, you see, you can shut off going the oscillator into oscillator 2. Into the filter. So the oscillator 2 is modulated. Here you see mod. It's FM. Essentially, it's phase distortion, but that's a side note of me, because essentially FM synthesis is phase modulation. Okay, but we call it FM because, yeah, people most know FM synthesis. Well, there are a few of the options, but in this case, I picked the FM. You have the amount control. How much oscillator 1 goes into filter 2 goes with this amount control, but also by the volumes. If I play this bass again, so let me shut down the drums, only play the bass. You see, if I go up with the volume, then it's a little bit too heavy. Then you lose the sound. Well, what is the trick with FM synthesis is that the oscillator, which modulates the other one, if that is continuously, it's not very useful. You need to modulate it over a given time. So for this, they use an envelope, for instance, in Blue 3 of an FM 7, FM 8, or a DX7, Yamaha DX7, or the Casio. So for having this FM synthesis fully functional, we need to address a envelope to this oscillator, in this case oscillator 1, and we use then down here the free envelopes, which is not routed to anything, and we use the free envelope to control the volume. You see here, volume from oscillator 1. So if I double click here the amount, you will hear that the bass, so you hear the modulation, but it's constantly. Now you see the first oscillator is a sinus waveform modulated by this other sinus waveform, but it's continuously, and you don't want that. So then I use, to do this typical FM synthesis concept, I use the free envelope 1 in SubBoomBass-2 to control the volume. I open the amount control, and then this envelope starts working. So let me tweak the envelope so you can hear that you have then a lot of options. I go a little bit back with the volume, because then it's a little bit more useful as a sound. So you notice that the sustain is 0. So you control how much in which time envelope the oscillator modulates oscillator 2. And then you get these punchy, typical FM sounds, which are very punchy, very good. Very different compared to a virtual analog sound or analog sound. Now even here I have a filter, so I even can shut down the filter, not use the filter, pure FM, and still have a bass. So it was a sinus. Sinus was the starting point. I use another sinus to modulate oscillator 2. The amount is fully open. I open the volume, it starts modulating, and the envelope controls the volume. Now that's one thing. So you have the modulating oscillator, an envelope that controls the volume of this oscillator. And then, of course, there's also the pitch, because the pitch also changes the sound. So if I play around, hear that? You get a totally different sound again. Of course, it's a matter of taste. And you get trillion sounds, you know? It's... So... Okay... You see, you get so many new sounds, which are typically this FM type of sounds. A DX7 has 6 operators, and FM 01 has 4. But here you already can do this with 2 oscillators, and because SubBoomBass-2 has a very full sound, you have a lot of cool things possible. So if you click here in the bank folder, you can, because I started Deep House FM, so we have the presets of which have this FM attention. I call them also Deep House FM, you see? So let me play a few of them, just to show you how many variations you can make using. And you go, yeah, and this one uses a different waveform to modulate. So if I go here back to, this was originally, but I use a different waveform to modulate. Click on original, then we have the original again. So these are all FM type of sound. And if you see these type of sounds and you think, okay, this is nice, but I want to tweak it myself, then you, after this video, you might think, hey, Rob learned me that I should control this volume of this oscillator, which is modulating oscillator 2. And I should check for this envelope, which is used to control this volume of this oscillator 1. And by changing that, and also the semitone, you can make, again, other new sounds. Pick another waveform. And you still can use the filters, of course. You have FM, and together you throw it into filters. So even if I change this here, and if you think, oh, this is a little bit thinny, why not use the sub oscillator and oscillator 2? So you see, I change a few things, and again, you have a different sound again. So let me play a few of the FM type of sounds. These are very punchy. Really hits hard. And these are all dry, so if you can always say, oh, let me make it a little bit more swirly. Chorus, put a delay on it. So this is FM3, so you see all kind of there's also a nice one, and it is possible even to FM modulate these samples. Let me see how that works. I'm not sure if that has a good let me take a taiko. No, it doesn't like what I do. Yeah, it's always... It's also too low. Let's see what happens with I use a Cajon FM. Doesn't do nothing. Adds a kind of overtone. But of course, what somebody mentions, there's of course also the granular. Okay, now I took the wrong. There's granular on these samples. know. So you can do some weird stuff. There are some very weird sounds in this FX sound bank. But we are talking about the FM synthesis. This is really much like a DX7. And the cool thing in a DX7, you don't have a filter, and here you still have a filter which you can place behind it and tweak again. Nice, isn't it? The other options you have, so this is FM synthesis, so hopefully I'm a little bit clear. I'm looking in the top section to see if everybody can follow me a little bit. Good evening, everybody. Yes. So if there's a question about FM synthesis, let me know. As mentioned, sometimes you always can watch back the live stream if you missed something. So FM synthesis means that one oscillator modulates the other one. In the case of SubBoomBass-2, you shut it off from going into the filter, you adjust the tuning, and you use then, what is wise to use is an envelope to control the modulation so that it's not continuously but over a given time contour. So that adds a lot of additional sound options. So the granular somebody mentioned, there are some very weird but granular. Okay. No, where is it? This is dirty. And you see the water is granular. If I put off granular, a Logdrum type. Winston is asking for FM synthesis Logdrum. Yeah, maybe it's already in one of the banks. So Logdrum is a bit more like a percussion sound. So I think you need to. Well, this uses a tabla and a snare. Sounds also a bit like a nice bass. I only would play it one octave lower. So if I transpose it, let me see where I can transpose it very fast. Okay, baby, where is transpose? MIDI. Transpose setup minus 12. Wow, that's a nice bass. Hear this one? Very punchy. Dry as it is. Oh, a bit of reverb, I think. Oh no, maybe modulation. Oh, I'm using the wrong one. So the modulation wheel controls the FX swing. So I would go for this one, dry cleaner modulation wheel. Dry cleaner. Okay, bass 45, bass presets. But I also can tweak the other ones. I think you probably get very fast to it. Yeah. Okay. I'm a piano here in South Africa. Cool. Gerd Bruins, how do you create a Moog Taurus tuba bass, or must I just pick a bass and slow the attack down? Yeah, of course, the Taurus is a Moog preset. Let me see if I go. So let me take this one. It's bass classic way 1, and if you have then and you need to find the balance. Let me see. But this is a very slow one, which is nice if you have a little bit of delay. Square. 2 so. Oh. Okay. You mean this, Gerd Bruins? Because this is more a slow rising. Shall I save this one? Let me save this one. Save preset in folder. So I go to my own folder here and I say okay, and then I call this one oh, I hope I write Taurus well. Taurus. Taurus rice. Okay, I will make it downloadable. Okay, cool. Yeah, a tuba is more one oscillator. It's more like this. Let's make a tuba. No delay. Let's make it. Maybe a little more darker. that's a little bit like a tuba. Let's put him in a little room because this guy is in a dead silence room, that acoustic room. So that room is too big for this guy. Yeah, that's more a tuba. And then you can use the modulation wheel. Let's put a modulation wheel open. Okay, do you like this one better? I will save them also, and I will call them save this. Okay, maybe I'm already in a good folder. Yes. Save preset as, I will call it. I call it the Bruins tuba. Cool. Okay, so 2 presets. I will make them downloadable in the info section. Last week we had the vocal stuff on the Unimagic, this newer plugin which we released. And I put in the link for the vocals, the house vocals. You can find it in the last week. The live streams this month are all about SubBoomBass-2. If you have SubBoomBass-2, check out the July live streams. I added the timestamps. There are many subjects I discussed in this live streams about SubBoomBass-2 tips and explain things. And I think that's definitely, if you use SubBoomBass-2 a lot, definitely will help you. Okay, so if you have another question, then let me know and we dive into it. So yeah, you see in my manager, I created here my own bank folder. You always, down here, you can say create a new one. And you see raw bank one, you see I have all kind of presets inside there. Some are a way about making a music, which I use in music. And of course, if you also made your own bank folder, don't forget to back them up in case of a new system, or maybe you have a failure on your computer and then your presets are lost. It's of course always the case if you have a preset used inside your song, it's saved inside the song, but then it might have a, and you need to load the song to find back this preset. So it's always wise to create your own folder and copy over these presets, and they are in the documents /raw Papen or in the applications /raw Papen folder on your Mac. So I have Chase. Chase. Nice, isn't it? Oh, these are presets made by Gerd Bruins, by the way. And Time Cop from a series. Yeah. That was from Berlin is Waiting, the track we made. Oh, you also Waiting bass again. Oh, that's the sequence without any. Of course, the SubBoomBass-2 has a sequencer, so not an arpeggiator, because it's essentially a monophonic synthesizer, although you have a polymode which is 4 tones polyphonic. And this one is nicer with stereo delay. And that's one of the tips I did last day also, is if you use a delay to avoid things getting muddy, especially in the low end, it's wise to have the high pass filter used so that the delay has no low end, so it blends in much better. You see that the sequencer stopped, by the way, but that's because it is not in loop mode. It does a pattern. Steps. So this is the delay, and if you can listen to it. If I shut down now, if I don't use the high pass filter and don't use the low pass filter, it does muddy the sound. Hear that? It gets one muddy bass sound. Maybe I should play it a little bit louder. No, it's okay. By using the high pass filter, you cut away the low end. And by the low pass filter, you cut away the high end. So the delay gets essentially less hi-fi, but then it makes that it doesn't interfere in the basic bass sound, and it becomes more a rhythm thing, a sound of its own. So if I play only delay by using the mix to the right, you hear that it's a sound without the bass. Even more muddy. And that was very often, if you have the first generation delays, it's they always were muddy, but they mix very nice in the music because it did filter away things which could be interfering with the original sound. So this is only the delay, which is then very muddy, and this is the original sound, and together with the delay. So the bass keeps the bass, and the rest is a more rhythm thing. So let me see if I mute this. Or maybe you notice that yourself already. I'm muting here a few things, otherwise it's playing in the background. So in the music. And of course the feedback also has its influence, although I see plus 38. So also the feedback has a lot of influence on the rhythm. If the feedback is the repeating of the delay, now it's a little bit more shorter, and sometimes that's nicer in your music, instead of a very long feedback, which keeps on going on, going on, going on, going on. That's of course always the matter of taste. What's wrong with muddy? Well, muddy is, what I mean is that it makes the sound woo, 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 instead of clear, that you hear this is the bass, this is this, and this is that. A vocal gets muddy so now and then with the bass. No, a vocal cannot get muddy. Unlike you turn up the bass of a voice and then it goes into the lower area, especially if you have then a male voice. That also can interfere. So with the delay, that's my advice. Use the low pass filter and the high pass filter to make it bit more blending. The feedback is a very important feature. Sometimes people simply put in the stereo delay and don't pay any attention on the feedback, and it has definitely a rhythm function. So if there is no feedback, you see only once. So it's really a musical thing. And maybe you can recall the Berlin is Waiting, this track I did live, created. There I had this bass. I think in the final version it was like this, instead of this. So I made it shorter. So that's really very important. So not only by picking the delay, having the left and right good, but also the feedback setting has influence on the rhythm, how it feels, how it mixes with the rest, and using the low pass and high pass filter. And this is example, of course, with SubBoomBass-2, but it is also subject with all the other instruments. And it depends, of course, also on your music. Okay, I'm checking the chat room. Yes, I'm checking the chat room. Sorry for that. Spiral, yeah, Arabella Carbo Spiral. That's the preset. Yeah, that one was created by Gerd Bruins. I'm not sure if we have that somewhere in the basic. Yeah, great album. Yeah, all the albums from Vangelis are great, in my opinion. One of my favorite is Antarctica. I love that one. Okay, I'm not sure if this one, Dervish, and maybe in the sequence preset, because yeah, it could be a copy strike issue, of course, if you use a melody. I'm not sure. So I'm not sure if we use that, Dervish. Let me see if I can look, if we maybe use that. No, it's only in this bank. So I have to ask, maybe Gerd can remember, did we add that as a download some time ago? I don't know again. Okay, we can look it up. Maybe for next week, then we can add that in the download section, the ones which Gerd did make. I will anyhow add these two presets, which Gerd talked about, which was the Tuba and the Taurus Rise. Yeah, I can recall the event in the Netherlands. I really doubt that it was live when he played in Rotterdam, because it was raining, and yeah, to do things like that live, maybe the choir was live, but it's a lot of work to play synthesizer music live because of the sounds and what you used in the past and that kind of things. Okay, guys, that about SubBoomBass-2. Or maybe you can show in Berlin is Waiting when a bass sound gets muddy together with other sounds. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, let me see. I'm not not sure. Okay. Okay, let me see if I play. I make you an example. So I put that bass, which we use, and then I show you something which is essentially something you always can do also by using the mixer and EQ, but I always mention we use synthesizers, so we have a lot of control to avoid particular things. So I think this bass is good enough. So this is the bass, and you see I use here the high pass filter. If I put it on, you hear it extends the bass instead of having a rhythm thing. Now it has the rhythm thing. So then if you would have a synthesizer next to it, we could... Let's take one of the new presets from Mike Clark, and let's play that one. Okay, I just do one bar. Okay. Yes. So I use that one. And you could also about sounds which are, maybe this is not the right sound for it to, but if you have sounds next to the bass, sometimes these sounds have far more bass than what you expect. And for having an open mix, you also need from particular sounds, you need to remove the low end to have blending in with the rest. Because picture with bass, there's just one bass in your song. There are not multiple basses. Sound can have body, but not bass, if you understand what I mean. So let's play this sound solo. So we have the bass and we have this. Picture this is your track and we have a bass and you have this as extra sound next to it. I'll make it a little bit tweaky. And you would not say that this is a bass sound, but I can promise you in this one is already some low end which you don't recognize. You can use the high pass filter. Of course, you also can use EQ, but I like to use the high pass filter. And I cut off the low end. And now it changes too much. Now listen to the difference. Of course, I hope you have good speakers. But this is without high pass filter. Then you see it already interferes with the bass. put on the high pass filter. And what you hear is that the bass and this sound is more separate. Again, without high pass filter. Now with. So the energy of the high pass filter, the sound in this Predator 3 sound has a kind of low end to it, which you don't need for this track because the bass is doing the bass, not the Predator 3. And by using a high pass filter, what you could do in a synthesizer, and some of the mixer people use the low cut on the mixer, but everything opens up. So we really need to keep in mind that in a song, one instrument does the bass, the rest should not have bass. Otherwise, everything gets a muddy mess. And of course, as mentioned, you can use the EQ, but the fun part with the synthesizer is if you use the high pass filter, you can also say, okay, sorry, let me use the high pass filter frequency on the modulation wheel, and then you can do some dynamic changes. So open now the modulation wheel. You see? Of course, you need to find the right point, but that's the reason I had in Predator 3 the high pass filter inside of it as a soundscaping sound tool, and that you can make dynamic changes to it by using modulation wheel, but also as a fast way to make the sound fit better in the music. I hope you could follow me a little bit on this last one. I mentioned it a few times. That's very important to give each sound its space. Okay, I'm checking the live room. Let me see. Yes. Okay, we go out with music. I had a nice conversation with somebody who had his first synthesizer at the end of 70s, 80s. He had a mini Moog. Still making music. He loves our products. I have the link inside of the description box. And the it's called filmlesssoundtracks.com. And John Manis is his name. It's also a lot of samples, but he's also a big raw Papen user. And I wanted to show you, the link is in description. His latest album is Alex A, and then we have here this one, but it's very nice music. You can also have links on, if you have Spotify, you can hear that on Spotify. So yes, I'll play a few of them. What I like is the combination, and I also liked one of the piano pieces, My Piano, which is a very nice piano composition. But I play a few things and then we go out. And we see you then next week. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it. And I will add tomorrow morning, of course, the timestamps. So if you look afterwards, that you can find sections where I talk about, and of course I will upload in the info section the 2 presets created by the this evening live stream. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you next week.